Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to today's video where we are going to go over the self-chill Venom Gyre character that I've been trying to make. I did get inspiration from this build from seeing Jung play the self-chill Spark, and I saw Rue trying to craft a claw for the specific setup. I thought to myself, why not try it out on Champion and try it out on Venom Gyre, because I wanted to make a really fast character to kind of finish off my challenges. Now, the number one problem with this build is definitely making the claw trigger. And as Rue found out, he was trying to make this claw and he was trying to get T1 fire damage or T2 fire damage, and look what happens. So right now
What do you think it is? What do you think it is?
He's trying to arc fire, and then he actually gets something really, really bad. 1 to 3.
1 to 3 again! 1 to 3 again! Are you fucking kidding me?
And that's just how it goes, right? So now we can see what happens with me when I tried to make this claw later on. I arc fire, and this is what a Giga Chat actually gets. A T2 fire, flat fire roll. So that was my claw that I ended up. I did spend... Someone else was trying to essence spam my claw. I think they spent over 1,200 essences. So this roll is incredibly hard to get. And it's kind of sad it's not T1 that we settled on originally, but it is T2, T2. So it is what it is. And I just wanted to show that crafting in its current state is incredibly RNG, and it feels really, really bad with no save states, and it's a horrible, horrible experience. But the premise of this character is definitely to get as much move speed as possible, and it's kind of like a meme character in a sense. Like, you should never really be playing a character that really needs to move this fast. 1,000% move speed is way, way too fast. I chose Champion because you do get adrenaline, and Champion also does get some challenger charges. Now, what challenger charges does is a move speed multiplier. So you can pretty much get 20% more movement speed, which is an incredible, incredible multiplier on top of all the move speed that we get. And you also get some aura effect, and we are going to be running haste in this build, which allows us to get to 1,000% move speed. Now, this build was pretty much meant as a meme in order to run to the boss as fast as possible. And I did try to showcase some of the build right here if you want to see how it looks like. And this is pretty much what happens. So you pretty much just run around in circles as fast as possible, and it's pretty fun. So it's known as the NASCAR build. It's not really good for anything else besides zooming around, and then you run to the boss, you kill it. So I pretty much spent like 200 divines on making a meme character to run as fast as possible. Now, it does run pretty fast, and wow, and you can just start doing laps if you want. And this character kind of reminds me, if anyone has played WoW, where you just stand in Orgrimmar or Stormwind or Ironforge and just run around laps on your mount. And that's what it feels like in my hideout when I play this character, is that it's pretty fast. And it's just a very enjoyable experience to run that fast. And it kind of reminds me of a lab runner character. I did try out lab one time, and it was pretty easy. With how fast you run through, none of the traps really hurt you. So you might be wondering, how exactly does this self-chill setup actually work? And we're going to go over it real fast. Now, this build does run really, really fast in the hideout. If you ever want to trade, so say you want to go to someone's stash tab because of a trade, then you can immediately do it super, super fast. So, and then once you pop Berserk is when the character starts going real fast. And it's very, very nauseating. I just want to put that out there. I wouldn't really recommend that many people try this build, because it will probably make you kind of sick after a while. And I didn't really notice how bad it was going to be until I actually tried it out. So you might be wondering, what makes this self-chill possible? So for people who haven't played self-chill Spark before, the way that this works is that we use the trigger weapon to proc Forbidden Right every 4 seconds. So you can see here, the weapon we have here is Unveil Trigger, and then we have Trigger a Socket of Spell using a skill. So we're going to be triggering Forbidden Right whenever we use any skill. So when we press Corrupting Fever, you will see that we trigger it, and then we chill ourselves with the Forbidden... with the Forbidden Right, because Forbidden Right hits ourselves. It says deals 12% of your maximum life as base chaos damage, and then this damage, because we hit ourselves, all damage taken from hits can chill you from Call to the Void. So we're chilled, and then Winter Weave reverses the chill effect, and that's how we get all of the chill. So then once we get chilled, we also use Replica Hot-Headed, which grants us movement speed and attack speed while chilled. So every single time we use a skill, we are chilling ourselves every 4 seconds. And Leafy Shade is what allows this chill to be 4 seconds, because it's 100% duration of ailments on you. So that's how we actually get the chill to be pretty much perma up, unless we are not using a skill, but we'll pretty much always going to be using a skill. Now, how does this build actually work? And I'm just going to go over a really quick summary. I don't really want to make a build guide for it yet because it's still in its infancy. And you can see one of the main problems that we have is that we don't have any life regen. Now, the reason we don't have any life regen is because we're using Comb Spirit. And what Comb Spirit does is it allows you to regen rage instead of life recovery rate. So right now, you can see we have 50 rage. And then when we press Berserk, our Berserk is pretty much going to be perma up most of the time because we have around 8 regen per second. Now, we get the regen from life regeneration. So every 100% or every 100 life recovery per second is 1 rage per second. So we have a bunch of life regeneration from Vitality, which we're running. So this is around 203. And then we have 3% from our flask right here. So all of this combined, along with some nodes on the tree right here for 1% life regen and 1.5%, 1.6% life regen, allows us to have a bunch of rage regen and keep up the Berserk for long periods of time. And it is a very, very satisfying feeling to play with Berserk up the whole time. And it is one of the cornerstones of this build that allows us to get so much movement speed, because with Berserk, we're able to get Berserk buff effect. And as we all know, Berserk is actually a more movement speed multiplier, 30% more move speed, along with the 30% buff on the helm, allows us to reach absolutely ludicrous amounts of speed. Now, we are using a Call of the Void and Winter Weave, and that's how we get the self-chill going. And then Omniscience is pretty much the name of the game. I know that some people, Rue will try to do a Strangle Drift, but I actually double corrupted this Omniscience on stream for a viewer, and I actually bought it off him for around 50 to 60 divine. So we actually have 10% attack speed and 10% move speed on the Omni for maximum meme potential. Eventually, you can also get a Mage Blood with movement speed if you want to really bring up the meme potential, so that you can get 1,100% move speed or something like that. And the reason we want to use a Mage Blood in this case is because this allows us to use a Quicksilver Flask, which is a lot of our move speed. Quicksilver Flask is around 80 to 90% move speed, roughly. So you really shouldn't be using a Quicksilver Flask if you're trying to make a well-balanced build. But at this point, we have one goal in mind, which is to get as much move speed on the build as possible. But you really do not need the Quicksilver Flask. Now, as I said, Comb Spirits, these gloves, you want to get +1 Frenzy on them because more Frenzy charges is more move speed. And this allows us to generate rage and have Perma Berserk. And for the chest, helm, shield, and boots, they're pretty much all rares. And you want to use these pieces to fill in as much stats as possible with attributes for Omni. Because right now we actually have around 1148 Omni, which is a decent amount. And then we have Chaos Res on these pieces and some suppression. And we do have nearly 100% suppression. I do have to swap over these nodes over here. And then we should have 100%. Now, the nice part about this build is that you can really run really fast. Now we have Challenger charges with the Forbidden Jewels, and then large clusters with Phantom Blades and Field of Fight, and then Phantom Blades and Feed the Fury. Now, overall, this character is very preliminary because the character just feels too fast. As you can see from a lot of the footage, it really just runs around too fast, and I don't really know what to say about it, but it will be better if we make the character more well-rounded, and I do think I will be trying to convert the character to be a more well-rounded character, because there's really no point in having 1,020% move speed. You don't really need to move that fast. In the end, you'll probably be running into walls over and over again, and it really feels kind of nauseating. It's kind of weird. Even though it's not like flickering around over the screen, running this fast actually makes you kind of feel dizzy. I guess just running around circles like this. But it is a very fun experiment, and I was making this character to run through the lake as fast as possible. Let's see if I actually have any wonderful lakes. And by the way, I have tried some lakes, and they are actually very bad still. I don't know what happened. I thought they actually buffed the lakes, but I pretty much made this character to run lakes, and I am going to do like a 20 lake test run just to see. So you could pretty much run through the whole lake, right? Or you could. So, pretty fun character if you want to do this. It does need some phasing on it, actually. But this is pretty much the original intention of the character, is to run through lake and try to make massive amounts of currency in lake. But it turns out that that's not really the case sometimes. And yeah. Pretty cool character overall, but lake's still unrewarding. So overall, I do think the more well-rounded package is going to be better. We want to make a well-rounded beast, not a super fast beast, right? And I do think one of the things you could take away from this build is that I think the gloves that grant you Perma Berserk with Comb Spirits is very underrated, especially if you're playing a Slayer build or some build that has Overleach that can deal with not having any regen at all. having this Perma Berserk option will make any build feel very, very fast. So I think that's probably the main takeaway is to try to make builds, try to play around Comb Spirits and see if there's a way to get Perma Berserk. Because I do know, especially for a Deadeye Venom Gyre, it's especially hard to get any sort of rage. And yeah. But that's going to be it for me. I am going to be playing the BPL. I am going to be playing Bone Shatter into Helix Champion or something like that. But I'm going to try to use Comb Spirits and try out Bone Shatter with Perma Berserk. But thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you find more Mirrors, Exalted Orbs, Divines, and Mage Bloods than me. And see you next time. Bye.